Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. Obviously, it is Tuesday, but hey, we had to delay ourselves by a day. Quack was only just back from Belgrade, and, well, there also wasn't that much to talk about, so we decided to push it back a day and do it on Tuesday instead. So, not too much to talk about. As you can tell by the title, Rostermania has not quite hit the standards or the expectations we were hoping. We were expecting something much bigger, much more dramatic, but instead, it's been a little quiet, and we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about the little LAN events that have happened, the little games that have been played. All of that coming up soon. Before we do, though, we have to thank the people who make this show possible, viable, available on audio-only platforms, which I'm sure some of you are listening on right now. And that is the members. The members are the people who support this show the most. They do account for a surprisingly large amount of this channel's revenue, and honestly, I'm eternally thankful to them. So, members get access to the King's Court interviews, they get access to BTS segments like the one we did today, and they get access to all the VODs. So, the streams I did Sunday and Monday, members can see all those VODs. Special thank you to our court contributor, XL, the only person at that tier, so the only one getting a special mention, a special shout out. Of course, remember that there are 3 tiers now. The bottom tier is the only one that doesn't get any sort of direct shout out. Top tier gets physically called out. In the middle, your name will be on screen, but hey, that's a very new thing. We'll see if it catches on. Quack, you are back from Serbia. How was your weekend?
Yes.
And have you got anything to promo?
Yeah, it was very nice. It was a very good weekend. We missed you, and very much enjoyed it. The event was excellent. Honestly, the event was 10 out of 10. Excellent. Hats off to all of the team, but particularly Prof and Bogdan, who do most of it. And yeah, it was sick. Belgrade, but it was nice. And yeah, I'm repping the. I've never owned a turtleneck before this one, but this I do very much enjoy it. So I'm repping the HLTV awards today. But no, it was nice. I got some interviews done. One is already out. It's with Olofmeister after his Hall of Fame induction. An honor to interview him about that, to be honest. An honor to meet him. And the other one is coming out later today, and it is going to be M-Sun, and you will be able to find both of them at Fragbyte's YouTube channel, and also on Twitter and Facebook and fucking all of it.
Facebook, damn, we're keeping it real current, aren't we?
I'll be honest. No, that's a weird thing. We get most of our readership from Facebook. You wouldn't believe it, but that's where most of the casual CS fans hang out, in a weird way.
Surely not.
In our case, it's mostly because people 10 years ago, when they were 15 years old, would follow Fragbyte and they would follow very closely on Facebook. Now it's kind of like they still follow us.
Right.
So we get it, but we do genuinely get Fragbyte's Twitter presence is the account is big with a lot of followers. We don't get a lot of metrics from there. As a small insight, we get a lot more from Facebook. So. And a lot more interactions on Facebook as well, a lot of discussion, a lot of comments, which is fun to read. But yeah, it's all there. The one with Emerson is actually really funny. So you'll see that on my socials as well. It's fun. Obviously, winning Women's Team of the Year, which was well deserved. Very happy about that. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was a nice weekend.
Okay, well, I'm glad I wasn't able to make it. It's a big shame. Everyone cries. Yes, we weep 1,000 tears for the absence of my presence and my everything that comes with it. But that's okay. Instead, we're going to look to next year, but also start doing our jobs, shall we? Shall we talk about some active CS? There was an event this weekend out in the Las Vegas desert. As I always have to remind myself, it is basically just a random set of casinos and very rundown estates, just randomly in the middle of a desert. But hey, that's the spirit of the true lawless Las Vegas dream, I guess. But anyway, the Mythical LAN, run by Flom, was hosted, and we got a very convincing winner. I think they didn't drop a map on their way to their victory, did M80, through the group stage and in the playoffs, even matching up with a team that beat them. Oh no, they actually didn't end up losing to NRG at Frag Miami, did they? They lost to Game Legion and 9 in Miami. They only lost to Europeans. All North American competition this time, and they actually just stormed through it. destroying Regain and Boss before getting to playoffs, destroying Voka, which was a surprise team for me to see just in terms of name, but then I realized that I looked at the rest of the group, someone had to make it out that I wasn't that familiar with. And then finally in the grand final with NRG, the biggest matchup, the toughest matchup, 13-10 on Mirage, and 13-1 on Dust 2. Not exactly encountering a lot of difficulties on their run through. So yes, MAT win the biggest LAN event of the weekend, and they, along with everyone else in attendance, got a nice little bump in VRS.
Yeah. There's a very interesting tier 2 landscape in terms of tier 2 landscape maybe even in this year and the spring season, because we have so much stuff going on, and this is really just the start of it. It is a nice event, nice for MAT. I've already seen some people talk about Plus Jaba as the NA version of Vitality adding ROPS.
All right,
which,
chill out, lads, chill out.
The NA version of it. So, you know.
I mean, to be honest, that is such an absurd statement considering what they managed with Hexed. like they did make last London playoffs with Hexed. It's not like we're asking them to just repeat as frag champions. No, we're asking for a lot more to be like matching, then surpassing last year.
The NA version of it is like top 8 at Pro League. Is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
beating NRG
that'd
7
be
times
an
in a row.
insane thing for them to do. Like considering last year with Hexed, they made London playoffs. They made top 6 at a real big event, beat some legit teams. Like they'd have to that'd be a huge thing to overcome.
I see the parallel. Like Hexed could be the NA Spinks. He could be, but like no. Great run. Good start of the season. Valuable VRS points. I think the other teams obviously gained more. It's an event which was like, out of MAT and NRG, it was basically don't lose, otherwise it's not really worth it. Like that was the one way you could have gained anything here, but for the other teams, it was pretty huge. Like Boss make a pretty significant leap, even with a group stage elimination, I believe, and Voka as well, like you said. Obviously, a tenured team. It's the old what are they called, Timbermen, that kind of core.
Right. Yes. Those very pleasant individuals that everyone's a massive fan of.
I don't know which of them are assholes at this point, you know, but there's three of those guys are here, and they're pretty good. But yeah, and they make a pretty good leap as well, making playoffs. So yeah, it's nice, very nice.
I'm not gonna lie, I said this yesterday on stream, just as an initial reaction to this event. I'm kind of disappointed Boss don't make playoffs. I mean, I know they take how many points out of this? 68. They got 27 ranking points. That's cute. But for them, it was almost impossible to drop points considering the event. The fact that they lose the revenge game to Marsborn 2-0, I think is a letdown. That should be considered a letdown, considering they do have probably the best individuals in that matchup. Like, I think Fang, Slight, like I've seen more out of Fang especially than I have out of anyone on Marsborn. They got the better IGL. Like, I get it. He's got a way to play and a way he calls in CS2 that's been really fun, but not simple, right? It's not simplistic style. We saw some pretty crazy stuff out of wildcard teams at times when they were having some of their most successful T-sides. So I get it's not the easiest leader to like integrate with, but I still would have expected the playoffs straight out the gate, straight off the bat. Considering especially the team that eliminates them, they had already beaten. Like there's a certain disappointment for me personally. Like I want to give them the fact that it's their first event. If they'd have been eliminated by someone else, I wouldn't be, I think, as bothered. I don't know about you, but for me, this is a bit bothersome.
No, obviously quite short notice to integrate somebody like San, but losing the second game to Marsborn with the exact same score line as you lose to Boss, or as you lose to MAT rather in the game prior, like 13-6, 13-9. That's a respect. Like Boss MAT, that's a respectable scoreline. To then have exactly the same scoreline against Marsborn. There's pieces on Marsborn who are fine. Like I can, Chop, Wolfie, and Grizz do have some hands, but I feel like, especially with having already beaten them at the same event, you could say the exact same thing about Boss. They have a very talented core and the better IGL. Should have taken that game, or at least should have put up a better fight, to be honest. But yeah, that's it. In the end, that's what decides a group. Like that's what decides their placement, is that one game. And sometimes you just have a bad game, I suppose. It might just be that. It's early days. it's still an exciting project, but yeah, this is the way it shook out.
Yeah, we'll see how they end up developing. Like I've had a fairly, positive reaction to the move. I'm not saying it's the dream for Stanislaw after, playing in a lot of play-ins and having some real near misses at big events with that roster he had assembled with Fuzi, with Susp, and with Jabo and Sonic. Like, he was in a pretty cool place prior to the grockening that happened at Wildcard. So I think there's it's a step down for him, but I think he's shown quality to the point where he could bring a team back up. And so just fingers crossed waiting for that to happen. Hopefully one of my most forgotten prospect videos in Fang can help make it happen. Like, he is a player I was quite excited by back then in Extra Salt and all those other teams. Maybe not the most cerebral player, maybe, at the time, quite raw. But he's always had the mechanics to play at a much higher level than just NA Tier 3. So yeah, hopefully they do make it happen.
Bit of a what if. I feel like he could have developed it better than he did, but I guess circumstances just didn't really do it. But yeah, no, it's a cool event, and honestly, this is like a new thing. Flom hosting this actually quite big LAN, and it looked really good. I heard a lot of good stuff from everybody. Like the M80 guys from Frag, like when they were in Frag, I heard nothing but complaints about shitty setup, shitty circumstances, whatever. I heard like all of them say that this was like one of their most fun LANs in a long time. So for like a first time LAN host, or for like a first time TO, and I don't know how much Flom's own hands were involved in it, but he's still heading up the project in a way. So big props to him for that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, my Twitter wasn't blown up by people retweeting, paragraphs of text from a pro who just got eliminated. You know what I mean? There wasn't any of that going on. So, yeah, probably was a pretty well-run event. Looking at some of the pictures, it seemed like a cool stage as well. Like, the way it was set up.
Yep.
It looked like a pretty solid
Yeah, they had a crowd.
So, yeah. They deserve a lot of credit for it.
Indeed. Oh, right, yeah, because Munster was there taking pictures, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was him. I saw some pictures taken, and I was looking at the setups, the crowds, all that stuff. I think it was on Munster's Twitter, or it was someone else who retweeted it and gave him credit. But still, it was a pretty dope little event. So shout out.
Oh yeah, go scroll through that. There's a thread on his Twitter. If you're watching after the show, you should go scroll through that because it's just looking at like good photographers. Man, it's so great to like scroll through and see an event that way. Like a side story from Belgrade is that like weirdly enough, like I was in the same room as like Zaiwu, Donk, and all of these people. The person I was most starstruck to actually talk to was one of the photographers, Vexeni, who does a lot of work for Blast because she's just so good. Like she's an icon. She did the portraits as well for all the winners. So just as a side note, appreciate your industry behind the scenes people, and especially photographers, because damn, it's so cool that we have good event photographers in esports.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I was just scrolling through my Twitter quickly to see if I could find it.
Monster
there
GG.
it is. I found it. I found it. I got the spelling wrong. But yeah, no, it is a pretty dope setup, and hopefully we see more of it because North America. This is something that we talked about briefly yesterday. Like, there's not a whole lot of VRS farming happening exclusively for North American teams. You talk about Frag as like the little local land thing, but Frag has always got international teams arriving. As we said, M80 were knocked out of Frag Miami by 2 European teams, 9 in Gamer Legion. There's no like self-contained, our scene needs points, let's create these little events. Cough, China, cough. That, helps buff them up, boost them up in the way that, those Chinese events do, some Mongolian lands have. It's pretty nice for them to get that little, that cheeky bump. I mean, it's another topic entirely if we want to talk about should this sort of thing be a thing. Should you be able to just constantly host little tournaments in your region to just manufacture points? Because this did nothing but buff everyone. Like, everyone took a win out of this. Even teams who went out in last place got points from this. So it's a bit of
like a minor, yeah.
It's a strange situation to see and feels a bit abusive.
I guess this is maybe the best place to talk about it. We've had a lot of tier 2 LAN news this week and in general. Like A lot of stuff has happened. There was already an extensive 2026 calendar. I can tell you, just in January we have six open sign up tier 2 lands. And in February we have another seven. March we have like 8 or 9, and then we just had this Danish series of lands, the Parkin. I don't know if you saw this Parkin Challenger
I
Championship.
did see the Park and Challenge. It's not Danish technically. I think it's just European tier 2 is what the label
No,
is
yeah,
to me. But yeah.
but they're all in Denmark. They're all in Copenhagen.
Oh, every single one's in Copenhagen.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Parken is like the big football arena in Copenhagen. It's not at the arena; it's at a hotel on the other side of the city, which is quite funny. But the 17 LAN events, the first 16 of them have I think a 10K prize pool, and then there's like a big finals event at the end of it with a 25K, I think, which is not huge. But like, if you're a Danish team, aside from Trick, who said they wouldn't participate because of a conflict of interest, if you're a Danish team, you're obviously in a better position than a lot of other teams to play in this event. So, and it's the same thing like the previously mentioned events that I mentioned. A lot of them are in Portugal because Roman hosts this LAN series, the Saw player. A lot of them are in Sweden because Eastplay have just gone all out on various different cups. And a lot of them are actually in Kazakhstan as well. There's already been one in Almaty, the Meta Cup. There's
Yeah,
going to be 2 more.
that's not new though. There's always been a very prolific local LAN scene in Middle Asia. It's just we've never cared about it before. We started caring about it when it threw up some VRS anomalies and started seeing Dune and stuff coming to Europe with direct invites. And I was like, what the fuck? How? Like, what happened? And that was what happened. But it's not new. Like, it's the sort of thing we'd seen. Like, all these guys, Molodoy, IC, have been playing in these events for years. If you go and look back, like 2022, they're in these events playing off against each other way before VRS is a thing. So it's it's a very different sort of outlook. It's a very different kind of reality now. But yes, they're not just abusing the system. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but it is kind of like you say as well. Like there's sort of a symbiotic relationship between local TOs and the teams from their region, because you can absolutely boost teams in your region by, not that it's just an easy thing to do, but like you can spam out smaller LAN events, recurring LAN events in your local region, even if you do open them up to Europe as a whole. You're obviously like, a LAN in Malmö is obviously going to have it's going to be easier for teams like Johnny Speeds to sign up to that LAN than it is a LAN in Riga or a LAN in Bucharest. So that's interesting, and that's something we see in Mongolia. It's something we see in China as well. Last season, some people would argue that the final Asian major spot was basically determined by which of the 2 countries was going to have the last LAN event. If it was going to be Chinggis Warriors or if it was going to be Rare Atom. And yeah, but in the end, I do still think this is, while there are some quirks, I do still think it's an absolute net positive. And to be honest, the only, like, should they be allowed to do it? Like, the only other, the counter to it is, well, why doesn't your region host LANs? It's like the counter to it. You should just do it. Like, find a way to host a LAN. Be the change you want to see in the world if you want to compete. So it's like Dennis says in the chat, love that LAN means something again. In the end, it's great. Like, these LANs mean something, and we have probably the healthiest tier 2 LAN scene we've ever had.
Yeah, we have spammed the fuck out of them. Hopefully the ones that are in Europe are going to be competed with European competition. I would think that'd be the ideal. Like, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see 16 Swedish teams playing in Malmö and getting ridiculous LAN VRS buffs.
Most of them are
big events. Like, fuck off. I don't want to watch that.
Most of them are open.
But Malmö's like a train from Copenhagen. Like, when I go to Malmö, I land in Copenhagen, take the train. I don't fly into Malmö because that's crackhead energy. So, all these places are pretty well connected. So I would hope these all remain very open, very mixed. And that's the same thing when I see people say, like, I've said, like, this North American LAN clearly buff North America, and I see the chat, like, there's 10 million tier 2 European LANs. It's like, yeah, all of which are open. Like, that's my ideal. It's like they're all open, and you can do what you were banging on about the Aussies doing, which is coming to Europe for 4 months and just endlessly sitting here grinding our lands, going around. Because come along, we don't need the fake VRS buff of, like, it was just 3 Latvian teams, Latvian Alex. We don't need that. We don't need that at all. We've got all the spots anyway. We have all the best teams, all the best players. Come play us. It's okay. You can
Yeah.
steal European VRS if you're better. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, there's ways to go about it. I don't feel like it's an abuse. I feel like it's opportunistic, and I do feel like it's in the end, for everybody, no matter what region you are from, it is a net positive, because these events are open to anybody to watch, and it's good competition for all of us. There's one more LAN which we got announced yesterday, which I did just briefly want to mention, because RMRs are back, baby. Starladder decided that there's going to be a $100,000 tier 2 LAN event just before the major cutoff, sponsored by Stake. It's the Stake Ranked is what it's called. They're doing a couple of afterwards as well. They're planning to do 6 in 2026, but the first one is very specifically scheduled for the start of April, just before the major cutoff. And it's invite, and there's open qualifiers, but it is basically the RMR. That thing is gonna decide major spots, both European and otherwise, and that's pretty exciting to me, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that sort of thing. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the series of parking events, just because it feels like the sort of thing where I'm going to be watching all those teams I've had to watch at 9 a.m. and fucking online CS. Now I get to be online, and now I get to watch them play the proper setup. And there's no excuses. There's no ping bullshit. There might be some technical difficulty still, just because it's a new setup, new system. But 17 LANs in the year, that'll be sorted. They'll be smooth and fucking beautiful within I'm assuming one event. Like, usually when a TO repeats at the same location once, sorted. Any sort of concern usually evaporates at that point. So no, I'm looking forward to that. It should be very fun.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun.
But okay, I'll do it on Flom's little Mythic LAN. There is another thing to talk about, a pretty big sort of semi-news story, just a reality that we have to address. And that is quite simply that Rostermania has been rather dead. There's been very little in terms of blockbuster moves. Now, there's been fascinating moves for us, right? Like, we've loved it. We've loved all these little, like, pain moves and heroics little rejigging. Inner Circle and NIP, these players are moving around. They're just moving around beneath the top tier. Like, we haven't seen that many huge moves. I think the biggest moves we can talk about in terms of name brand value have happened to be, like, 100 Thieves roster includes some pretty big names. Like, it's not this team already guaranteed to play at this event are making this change. There's BC Game, made the Portuguese move. That's pretty big because Simple is indirectly involved. It's his team making the changes. So now he gets to play big events. These are all big names. They're not really the moves we sort of expected. No Mao's change, no Vitality change, obviously. No Na'Vi change, no Phase change. Furia remain the same. Falcons remain the same. Everyone in the top 10, pretty much aside from Spirit, isn't making moves. Like, Spirit made one right at the start. Since then, silence. Despite what certain figures promised. I'm sure there was a lot of rumors, a lot of rumblings, and that's why someone like Stiko would have tweeted what he tweeted. When he tweeted that this will be the biggest one. Keep refreshing Hinchel TV, guys. I assume he knew
Jinx it.
A lot of people were looking, and a lot of people were trying to make changes. But that hasn't come to be. It's just, it feels a little dead, feels a little quiet. We know the reality is there's been a bunch of interesting tier 2 moves, tier 1.5 moves. But yeah, not quite the blockbuster moves everyone was expecting. Quacker, why has there not been anything happening? I know you got some insight into this. Like, why did nothing actually come to pass? And I don't mean just literally, I assume everyone's too expensive, but was there anything, like was there a Jenga tower that could have collapsed if something had happened?
I defer to my colleague Luis Mira of HLTV, and he says that it's there was a Jenga tower, and a lot of it was hinging on PR. PR had interest from a lot of different teams, primarily from Mouse, who had a buyback option, obviously, with him being an academy project of theirs. And we've seen in the past that they have buyback options on such players, which is nice. But according to his sources, and which he outlines in an article that he put out this morning, I believe, or last night rather, a lot of teams were trying to get PR. He was too expensive, and the one that probably could afford it was Mouse. They opted, at least for now, not to do it, which meant that PR sat tight. And I'm assuming that the others, like, it is kind of just that everybody is very expensive. There's a rumor today on HLTV forums, citing quote unquote a lot of mainstream news in Mongolia that Senzu has a $2 million buyout, which is high, very high.
It's ridiculously high.
I'm assuming that's like they don't, they are looking to sell him. Like that was the report that the team are looking to sell him. They will negotiate that, but if you want to ensure that you're going to get Senzu transferred to your team, then you have to pay $2 million according to this supposed source. Which
in between like this figure attached to it, the fact that everyone has tried to put him on every fucking team ever. I think the guy with 0 MVPs and 1 HLT top 20 at 13 is becoming quite overrated.
Yeah.
Holy crap, lads. Can we chill out? Like, it's not like Senzu was undeniable in 2025. He was good, had flashes of brilliant, mostly was just good. As the hardest setup man on the Mongols, he wasn't actually that insane. $2 million is nuts.
Yeah, it's very high, and that seems to be the problem. Like, Apex also quoted in the same article, Apex from HLTV confirmed, or Apex from Vitality, but he was on HLTV confirmed when he said this. Was that a lot of teams wanted to make changes, but a lot of teams had opted not to do so because buyouts were too high. And if that's the bottom line, then that's the bottom line. But I do feel like PR was the kind of Jenga tower where it's you can sort of see how things would shuffle there. Like if Mouse make that change and replace Jimpat, well, maybe Falcons would reconsider and maybe they would look at Jimpat again if he was actually like available. Or another team might go for him. Like maybe a Navi would think about it. Like maybe because we've heard talk about like that was also something mentioned in Mirror's article was that you could have thought about Alexi B leaving Navi. It sounded to a lot of people like he might do that. Emma as an IGL option is probably an option in 2026 with how a lot of top teams are moving towards like the way I put it, kind of not real IGLs, not career IGLs. You're going for other players who move into the IGL role. Emma would sort of fit that bill. It's a roster move I can see as being realistic.
It'd be a terrible idea, and I'll keep harping on this. As every time someone brings up, now you make a change where Alexi B's cut and Emma moves to IGL, I just want to slap someone. Like, it just annoys me, especially when I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, it's been led so well, they've called so well, they've done everything so well, except for some reason we now want to add firepower and move tactics. Like the leadership has been great. Like why would you fuck with that of all things? Like that is ridiculous.
Yep. And then he also outlines that Navi were apparently interested in Demon. Foot were maybe, as he put it, the big winners who were able to retain their roster as it was, but despite having a lot of interest from different teams. And he says that G2 were rumored to be after an aggressive rifler. But nothing came up. Like they said, a lot of these are like, if a good opportunity came up. And it just didn't happen. And part of what would be a good opportunity is a good price. Which I expect that the players you want just didn't have a good price. Because we have these huge contracts and orgs just really can't keep up. Like it's been quite inflated. And more inflated how big buyouts are in 2026, and it just keeps growing. He also does credit the lack of like proper good offers on the market, because the teams that are maybe slightly dissatisfied with their offers who aren't in the top 4 don't really have a clear candidate to sign. Like you don't want to, if you wanted to upgrade somebody like Torji. Torji is a bad example because he's one of the better ones. But if you wanted to upgrade somebody like Sun Pius, who are you going to get? You're not buying from the top 4, and your peers in tier 1 are not exactly clear upgrades. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen someone who's, if you're an org and you clearly are dissatisfied with your orbing situation and you don't take a stupid risk. I'm saying go stupid with it. Sign a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old who's shown something. Like, surely it's better than just trudging along, knowing you're unhappy and not trying anything. Given the fact that you could pick up some academy kid, you could, like shit, Heroic picked up on loan. It's not ideal. I don't think that much of the kid. Alcaren, when they lost some Pius, I'm like, did they look that much worse at the org position? Like that much worse at the org position in the lands they played? And I don't think, not really. Like not particularly. It wasn't that big of a risk. So if you are a team that's that dissatisfied that you're like, oh, if only there was a good AWPer on the market, just try something. Try a kid. Go get a fucking Jaboan. Go get a.
Well,
I mean, Grix was the obvious one last year that no one ended up sticking with, so now he's on big and he's going to be amazing. Yeah. Why is everyone just sitting around going, if only Shiro was free? Like, who are you trying to sign in Tier 1 at that point?
Yeah. But who were the last teams who went for a gamble on an AWPer? We're talking teams like on like a cracked kid for the AWPer. We're talking
MIBR,
like Fnatic going
Furia.
MIBR going for Klim, Fnatic going for Jambo, Furia going for Molodoi. I kind of feel is, considering like 12.5 teams were looking at Molodoi at that point, I do feel like
12.5 teams are looking at Grix as well, but they're still a risk. It's still a kid. Like, everyone on the planet is going to be still looking at all these young guys. Like, Jorko's going to have a lot of people watching him. Like, it's not news that some people would be watching him in his career and how he's playing right now. Like, this is not news, but everyone's just sat there. It feels like they're waiting for magically Torji to become a superstar and free, or for Wonderful to get dropped, like, just outright. Like, what are you waiting for to make an AWP move if you're that dissatisfied that you're looking at the AWP market with such attention? Like, I do think there's a disconnect in philosophy there. If you're that annoyed, if you're that reluctant to be happy with your AWP, if you're just so frustrated with your big green gun wielder, surely try something. Surely you would take a risk.
If nothing else, you could try Dexter. Like Dexter was a free agent.
He's free. He's literally free.
If you're looking at, if you want, Dexter's recent past has not been elite level.
Yeah.
But I would say the last time Dexter played, he wasn't that far off the year average of somebody like Senpaius, somebody like 910, somebody like Amaka, for example. And these are players in the top 15. He wasn't that far off those kind of players. No. Ultimate, for example. So if you want, like, if you believe that his recent form on Falcons, for example, is his, the worst case, if he can maintain it, then that's a side grade at worst. But it's and for a team like, if I'm looking down the ranking, if I'm looking at a Heroic, I feel like they could have really benefited from a Dexter.
Yeah, I mean, Heroic are not exactly. It's a weird situation with Heroic because you'd be making another change.
Yeah, the tricky thing there is why I think it took a long time for Heroic to make a change was because also in Mira's article, X-Cloud was apparently an option to go to Aurora.
Of course he was.
So knowing they had already they went in early and benched Linus to sign Crizzen, you can make one more change. If I'm assuming we heard that they were talking to BC Game, looking to maybe sell a core. We heard that they apparently X-Cloud was an option up until Soulfly was kind of signed, it seemed. And they also wanted to bench Youngster, considering that's what they did in the end.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like they probably waited to make that final move until they had exhausted all the options. Also reported by HLTV was that there was a rumor that they were thinking about replacing Alcoven as well. Like, literally nobody was safe here except for Nilo over this transfer period. And maybe not even him. I don't know. We just haven't heard anything. So, I mean, yeah. So in that regard, I think that's why they waited. I think that's why they held off. If they had pulled the plug a bit earlier, maybe they could have gone for like replace Alcoven with someone. I don't know. But look, another team like Gamer Legion, they had space to make another change. They only made one change in the end. They could have gone for Dexter.
Yeah, well, the Gamer Legion, we're starting to slump down the rankings here in terms of, we were looking at top 10 teams. There's multiple top 10 teams with replaceable AWPers is essentially the problem here.
They do, yeah.
Like,
but if I'm putting Dexter in like the same group as like a Brokey 910, Sunpius, Woxic, Maka, these are top 15 team AWPers. I'm putting them in sort of the same sort of skill group. The team, like a team who would really benefit from a player like Dexter on a free transfer with a decently sized org. Gamer Legion are kind of that, unless they have just a lot of faith in Hypex, which they seem to do, or they seem to have.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. He might just be, I don't know, there might just be some weird sort of Polish rebuild coming with Gamer Legion. I'm still suspecting something's going to happen eventually. But if, in terms of the sort of the top end teams, we needed to see something happen, right? Obviously, you talked about PR. If PR moves, that means Mao's led up to Jimmy. Jimmy maybe then gets picked up for Falcons.
Yeah.
You know, sure, the priority gets lesser and lesser. Like Tesses maybe ends up on Astralis, you know, something smaller. But we do end up we're seeing a lot more dominoes fall. And that probably leads to a more exciting sort of off-season for the community who don't follow Tier 2, Tier 1.5. Because obviously we were there talking about how Krisen's going to change Heroic, how, what's his face? How Susp is going to play alongside Nilo again. Like, we had all those conversations. We're very excited to have those conversations. We're talking about all these little
Gonna have them again.
We are going to have more and more of them. But when you talk about a team like FaZe, who, for the majority of last year, like 1 or 2 events, literally anomalous events aside, they had perhaps the worst AWPA in top 10 sort of play almost in like years. Like, Brokey was giving us some truly dog water like events. The fact that they don't end up looking at a free transfer Dexter is quite shocking, right? Like, the fact that they don't try anything is a bit of a surprise. I understand why people would be frustrated, not just because the PR domino, you know, didn't fall, the Jenga piece wasn't taken out and the tower didn't collapse. More that certain pieces that have been clearly frustrating and disappointing in 2025 escaped any kind of even pressure or scrutiny. Because I didn't hear a FaZe rumor. Like, I didn't see a FaZe interested in X, FaZe interested in Y. Like, there was nothing in terms of them even exploring their options, even for a player who's free. So it's a frustrating off-season, I guess, if you're just following the very top level of the scene.
Yeah, it is, and I can see that Foot and PR then being the kind of Jenga towers who could have unlocked it all. But both Gamer Legion and Foot managed to retain their players. That could have been interesting. That could have been like the, in a way, especially for some of the Foot players, like some of the younger Gamble players that we're talking about. Like, obviously they are sitting in the top 20, I think, with a Foot are. But you know, it's kind of like Makaze was the obvious talent. The others, at least I still have like some top 27 rather. I think maybe they're top 20 in VRS. The others, I have some slight question marks about. Like, you can sort of wonder, well, okay, so Demon, Jugs, you know, they're obviously talented, but how are they going to stack up if they play on a top 10 team? That's seemingly a transfer that could have happened if there's a lot of teams above them that were interested in, but Foot managed to keep them, probably with high buyouts, pretty new contracts, and like
the Foot ones at least makes sense, you know, because they did sign 6 months ago, if that. So there is a reason why there'd be a high buyout, because, you know, that's how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to buy out the remainder of the contract. The price of a buyout is supposed to just be the contracted salary left. Like, that's how it's supposed to work originally. So it would make sense that Foot are not cheap players to pick up right now. It's just frustrating that I'm assuming there's a tag that's been placed on it that's arbitrary, that has no realistic sort of comparison, no real value. Like, there's no mathematical function that's created this number. It's just fuck off this number, please. Which is a classic Brazilian move. If you remember back in the day when everyone's always complaining we couldn't get a top Brazilian team for years and years post LGSK. Same sort of thing happening here, where players are getting these big evaluations attached to them that don't really make a lot of sense when it comes to the nature or the typical sort of idea of what a buyout should be.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we move on? Funnily enough, we are 38 minutes, 39 seconds into the episode, and we're basically done with news and topics. That's unfortunately where we're at. That's unfortunately where we're at.
I was talking to somebody in Belgrade about our podcast and how, you know, how we do it. And somebody else says, how do you do an episode that's over 4 hours long? And I said, well, usually I keep the energy up by the fact that I think the first part of the podcast is boring and the fun part is the last part. And I think you're the opposite. So, you know, we kind of passed that. We don't do this by design, but I think you find the first part of the episode more interesting than I do. So we carry each other through it.
100 Thieves.
Yeah.
We've covered 100 Thieves last week, the week before that.
Yeah.
Is this one of those classic cases where the 1 week we don't talk about the thing we endlessly talk about, people get mad at us? Like, we didn't talk about Gamer Legion once and all of a sudden got flamed in the comments for not talking about Gamer Legion.
I can tell you 100 Thieves is not going to be in today's Eternal Shuffle, so Messi also, you can click off the episode if you want to. But we have we talked about the full roster yesterday. I think they announced it the day after we had last week's episode, and the leak of the full roster came like a couple of days before.
Yeah, so we'd already discussed the full roster.
I knew the full roster anyway. Yeah, we already talked about all of it. We already know. Refer to the last episode if you want to hear our thoughts on everything 100 Thieves, which
also available on Spotify and Apple Music.
Sponsored by but yeah, no, we're coming into the fun part of the episode. What is the next segment?
King we're now going to the Retake Games. Yes, this is where shit gets real silly. We start frolicking. We start making giggly noises and playing little games. Yes, we are children at heart.
The Winter Retake Games in Milano 2026. Where
things are about to get whimsical. That's what's happening. The Retake Games. I have a game for you, Quack. Let me just whip this out. Babosh. There we go. Look at that high-level piece of graphics work. It clearly took the designer of this multiple seconds to put together. Let me just send you a screenshot just so you can reference it.
I have the broadcast open.
Still. Here we go. These are 8 players. One of them is the odd man out.
Yeah.
There's a specific reason why. And I'd like you to find that reason. I can give you like 3 guesses. I'll give you 1 clue.
So there's one player who's an odd one out.
Yes.
I have
who hasn't done or doesn't feature or hasn't something that the other guys have.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And I have 3 questions to ask who is the odd one out. So I can ask.
Yes.
I can ask, is this player a major winner, for example? And you'll give me a yes or no, and I can eliminate.
Yeah.
No, okay, but is that one of my 3, or do I have 3 names to guess?
You have 3 names to guess. You can guess the. If you want, you can guess the what's it called? The category first, but yeah.
Huh. So I could ask if they're a major winner, and if you say no, there's a very obvious who it is. Let me see. Could be an age-related.
That's who I'm missing. Sorry, there was supposed to be another player on screen. Okay, imagine Guardian's here as well.
So 9 players, and Guardian is one of them.
It was meant to be 9. I couldn't figure out this morning whilst I was doing this, whilst doing the pre-show, what the 9th player was. Like, I'd missed someone, I couldn't figure it out in the in my haze. I will quickly slip him on screen like nothing happened. But yes, keep talking.
Yep. It's it could be an age-related thing, but I don't think so, because there's no hard line. It's not like several of these players are above 30, but several also below. Could be a major MVP thing. Forest, but Forest doesn't have one. So otherwise, I was gonna say Rops, but Electronic also no, and obviously Nico. Maybe it's an MVP thing in general. Fur might not have any MVPs. The others definitely do, and Guardian does. Hello there, Guardian.
He has arrived, yes.
Yeah, in the most legendary of his jerseys as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not digging through the archives. I'm just taking what's there, you know.
I'm not looking at chat. I see that they're saying some things. I'm gonna close chat right now. But that is true. It could be something with the top 20 list. Electronic has also never been top 3 though, because he was, I think, top 5 or top 4 at best in 2019, maybe top 6. And Fur, I don't think has been top 3 either, because it was Fallen and Cold Zero, not Fur as well. This is tricky. I'm gonna do a guess before I ask for a clue.
Okay.
And it just feels like it would be. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retired players and 4 non-retired. One of them is on a top, or 2 of them are on top teams. 2 of them are on what you'd probably call tier 2 teams. BC Game kind of in the air right now. I'm gonna guess that the odd one out is. Do you know? I think maybe you forgot Guardian because he was the odd one out. I'm gonna guess Guardian.
It is not Guardian. It is not Guardian.
Shame.
Unfortunately for you, it's
Hmm.
screw it. Let's just make him disappear. There we go. Guardian has now disappeared.
Right. I'm actually gonna ask one more guess because there's another one which is obviously stands out to me, and it's that there's only one non-European. It seems
Okay.
too basic that we would have gone for. So I'm gonna say, is it fur?
It is not fur. And no, I did not go by continent or geography. Obviously, we are
Okay.
globalists here. We don't believe in barriers and nation states and all that other
No,
crazy
it's okay.
stuff.
Yeah, it's okay. I feel like I've eliminated 2 good players. I've eliminated one of the 2 non-major winners. I've eliminated the non-European player, and also I'm not sure if Fur has ever had an MVP. I can't remember. I
Fur
feel like
has at least one. I'm not
at
going
least
crazy.
one. All right.
Yeah, no,
No, you're
one.
probably right.
Yeah, it's literally one. ECS Season 3 finals.
Yeah, Electronic also has exactly one, I believe. Because
No, Electronic is 3.
No, that's the thing.
No, no,
I'm pretty sure he has.
Fuck yeah, he only ever one.
And
with
it's
Simple, didn't
Epicenter,
he?
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Epicenter 2020. Which they lost to Mouse. And that was the one where Chris J had the crazy 1v5. Yep, right. We have 2 oppers, 1 aggressive rifler, and then 4. Nico's kind of an aggressive rifler as well, historically anyway. 2 Swedes, 3 Nordics in total. That doesn't mean. I'm wondering if I should ask a specific question, hoping for like the answer that will give me 1 or 2 players remaining, or if I should ask a broad question which might eliminate half. Yeah. Fuck it. Is this player from the Nordic countries? So Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Norway, Iceland.
Faroe Islands. No.
Part of Denmark. All right, so I can eliminate the.
Are the Faroes part of Denmark?
Bottom.
Why do they have their own fucking football team? This annoys me when a country's part of another country but has their own damn football team. Like, and you're not even close to each other. Give it up.
You mean like England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland?
They're at least close to each other, and when you invented football, you get to do whatever the fuck you want. That's the reality of it. Like,
there's like a dozen French territories with that. Hey, you removed Rops.
Pish posh.
He's Estonian,
I?
but thank you for removing him. Yeah.
Hang on, where's he gone?
But thank you
There
for
he is.
that. I'm not gonna guess Rops now. Okay, we have an Opper. We have. We have 2 Falcons players. I feel like if it's you, you're gonna pick something about like. It's not gonna be something like they played for 6 different teams because you don't know that stuff. You don't know like history.
I can Google. I can scroll. I can look.
But you wouldn't pick that. You would pick something like they have an event with over a 1.0 KPR, which I'm pretty sure all the top 3 do. But I'm not sure Rops does, because Rops never really had that like not like massive carry performance that some of these others have.
Yeah, Rops doesn't really kill that many people. He is a DPR farmer lurker, you know.
Yeah.
His best KPR stat is 0.96 in the Krakow 2017 main qualifier, not even a full event. Let me look up the other guys now.
Could be top. The others have. Well, Nico has the most top 20 placings. Otherwise, Rops also has a lot though. He has 8 straight, I believe, and Nico has 10, a record-breaking 10 straight, I think. Kenny and Electronic only have significantly fewer than that. So this is my final guess. It's actually hard. Okay, there is obviously one non-major winner, but he wouldn't be the odd one out because Guardian was also there. Might be somebody who hasn't played a CS2 major. I'm not sure Electronic. Oh, he would on VP. So I'm gonna guess that Kenny is the odd one out.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Are you going to guess why, or?
I think it is that he might not have. He's the only guy who hasn't played a CS2 major.
Okay. Oh,
Fair
the
guess,
wrong
I
thing.
think.
Kenny S is correct, but not for the reason you gave. Having not played a
Half a
CS2
point.
major is not relevant because, you know,
Half a point.
Guardian hadn't played a CS2 major as far as I'm aware. I don't know what.
Ah, fuck, that's true. Yeah.
No, Kenny S. Chat got it immediately. Kenny S has not been top 5 on HLTV. Everyone else on that list
Top
had.
5.
I picked none of the players I picked had been number 1 either, but Kenny S had not been top 5 on HLTV, despite clearly being the best player in the world in 2014. He never made top 5.
It's actually good. It's actually good. Yeah, it's actually good.
So yeah, there you go.
That was a good
There's
thing.
your odd man out.
Yeah. I just assumed Kenny would have been higher because I don't remember the
Finished
the old
6th
lists
back
that
to
well.
back, which is absurd. But hey,
Yeah.
it's HLTV. It's their list.
Yeah. The
It's not the reality of it's not the be all end all. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you're allowed to go watch the games, and if you did,
that was a good game. Yeah. That was a good game. It's basically what I was planning for this week, and I was planning to doing almost exactly the same graphic. And this was not something we talked about pre-show. This was a complete
No.
surprise.
This is what I came up with on the train here.
Yeah, I'll have basically the same game next week then.
Nothing for us this week then. Are we moving on to the Eternal Shuffle?
No, yeah, because I was thinking about doing it, but I wanted to do a graphic, and I didn't really have time. But we'll do it next week.
Okay. Well, that does mean we have to quickly jump to Cock of the Week, which is Quack, for he did not find one.
Yeah, it's me. I did not find one. No, I couldn't think of one. I haven't been that online this week because I've been abroad. And data prices outside of Schengen are really expensive.
I don't know what wearing a dress has to do with this, but okay.
Data prices outside of Schengen are really expensive. So I just haven't been on Twitter that much when I was in Belgrade. So
you couldn't find Wi-Fi? Come on, man. Come on, man. A criminally
not
online
good
man
ones,
like you.
No. Not good Wi-Fi. No, absolutely not. So yeah, I wasn't on Twitter too much. I'm sure there have been horrible takes. Honestly, maybe I don't know if I should give Cock of the Week to everybody who complains that Zaiwu was number 1 when it was obviously going to happen, but I am complaining about Zaiwu being number 1, despite the fact that it's always going to happen, because I just think it's kind of dumb of HLTV not to change their list. If they think, you know, this is the way the list has always worked, but you could just change it. And I think at some point in the future, it's going to be changed. And we're going to look back and we're going to say, well, Donk was supposed to be number 1 in 2024 or 2025 when that happens. So, it's.
Could have said that a few times in their history, though. There's been times,
but like if you know, when HLTV eventually decide that, like, because I think they will at some point, where they're going to be like, team achievements might not be the be all end all. They're going to make the change. It might as well have been this year when you had a very good reason to make such a change. But yeah, that's neither or. No, I don't have a bad take. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, well, let's go swiftly onwards onto the Eternal Shuffle.
Yeah, quite
which,
eternal.
We've got a lot of. There's a lot of moves to talk about, despite Rostermania being dead. Because again, Rostermania only applies to teams in the top 10, basically. If you're outside the top 10 and you make changes, the scene doesn't give a shit. Or if you're Spirit and you make it too early, all of a sudden, no one gives a shit. So here we are, the Eternal Shuffle, bunch of roster moves to talk about. Quack, I'm going to try and grade them, except they're incomplete, obviously. What's happened? A lot of these seem to be just confirms, don't they? Like,
yeah, a lot of them are confirmed. Some of them we have talked about, some of them we haven't.
Yeah.
Astralis, I can't remember if we talked about Ryu and Fuzi joining. I don't know if that was rumored at the time. I think the timing might have been awkward, so we actually kind of missed that rumor. But yeah, Astralis have confirmed their 2026 roster. It is Ryu out of Monty, and it is Fuzi out of Wildcard previously. And they're playing today against Fnatic.
Yeah, pretty interesting pair of moves. I don't hate it. I would say they've done a decent job upgrading. I really was not buying device stock towards the end of the year. Unlike Fuzi, as far as like being a very explosive playmaker, very clutch, and Ryu's a very talented guy who's just maintained his level no matter the opponent. Like, he's come in very consistently, just drilling those 110s to 120s against everyone he's faced. He's not faced the best of the best yet. That's what this Astralis team hopefully will achieve. And yeah, Ryu, exciting young player. Welcome to Astralis. You can ditch the fake MIBR jersey for a new one. So yeah, I'll give them, in terms of the move from start to finish, I'll give them a B+, maybe an A-. because it is risky what they've done, but I think it's the right kind of risk. So I like it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's for my money the best IGL Fuzi's ever gotten to work with, and he was pretty good under the last one. So yeah, solid. Yabi and Stair are retained, who were playing solid last year, and Ryu for Stown, I really don't know. Bit of a gamble. Ryu hasn't really played at this level. He's probably the guy who's taking the biggest step up, obviously, but
yeah, the thing is with Ryu, it's like from Monty Gen to Monty Gen again to Monty. Like his numbers just fucking flat. Like he's just a constant, just like 114-ish, no matter who he's playing against. Like he's played 31 maps against top 30 teams this year. And he's a 111, you know? Like he's not one of those guys who plays bums, has a small sample against really like solid teams, and all of a sudden can't quite get it done because his team's not good enough. Like he's a trading, clutching kind of late round player. And just delivers. So I'm pretty excited to see him on this team, to be honest. And hopefully it works out for him.
Hopefully it does. In that same matchup later today, Fnatic have obviously lost Blame F, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the player they've signed to replace him is Madden. Which
it's a complete
I didn't
shift.
see coming, honestly.
It's a shift in philosophy entirely. Like there wasn't really a 1-for-1 with Blame F they could sign. Like, you could sign a guy who is like a half lurk, sometimes makes these openings happen, sometimes late round closing.
Could maybe go for Stown, but like, that is out of Astralis. But
they don't want to do that. They didn't want that role, really. No. That's why they signed Madden. No. Madden is a clear hard entry, hard opening player. They want to set up Jacasmo to be, have more players to play off the shoulder of, to not have to rely as heavily on fear for hard entries. They've just gotten themselves a very useful tool player to try and set up the Passion UA stars. Like they want this team to succeed with Jacasmo, with Jambo, getting the majority of the attention, majority of the opportunities, and I respect it. It's not obviously going to be a fragging 1-for-1. I don't think Madden can put out the numbers Blame F did ever, but he can enable the other guys to perhaps fill that void, and I think that's not the worst idea. I think they've done a decent enough job of pivoting after such a big loss. B. Flat B.
Flat B. I've seen an interesting thing now comparing because what's the exact role matchup between Astralis and Fnatic here? Like, who's the Ryu equivalent on this Fnatic lineup, you'd say?
That's interesting.
Madden, Jacasmo, or Crims?
It's not Madden. It's somewhere, because like Ryu's kind of playing on CT side, he's going to be more like Crims. On T side, he's going to be more like, I guess, what Jacasmo will look like. But I think it might just be Crims outright. It depends on how Yabi's being used. If Yabi's being used more hard lurking and Ryu's more in the pack, then it'll be Jacasmo on the T side outright. But that's kind of where the matchup is.
Because it's interesting, the comparison thing on the match page. Ryu clears. It's past 3 months. We've obviously had an off season, and Ryu has played slightly worse opposition. Ryu obviously clears Jacasmo in all the numbers, except for multi-kill rating. Like Jacasmo somehow has a 1.16 multi-kill rating to Ryu's 115, while having a almost negative 1% round swing in those 3 months. Which is
that's just because multi-kill rating is like I mean Jacasmo might just get more multi-kills. He might have also got more with MP9s. You know, he might have used more SMGs in that time. And SMGs juice your fragging stats right now.
Probably true. That's Fnatic and their move made. NIP have confirmed Cairn, and I think we've talked about this being rumored before, but the roster is finalized. I saw somebody mention that there was a cheating accusation against Cairn in relation to the signing.
That's every fucking player. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, give me something concrete or fuck off with your little, he's been rumored. Shut up, nerd. Give me something real. I don't care.
It was Ganginho, who is also banned for cheating, for matchmaking rather, who accused him.
Fuck off. Either get him fucking banned, spill the beans, give us all the fucking actual info, or fuck off. Like, shut up. Go get a job. Like, stop whining. The roster move, I've been very pro this move for a long time. Ever since I heard about it, I was like, yes. Because firstly, you're cutting the right player. Love it, NIP. Secondly, you're also signing a guy who fits the roles somewhat properly, has shown a decent level in terms of his output. Sure, isn't very tested, but hey, when you did test the other guy, he didn't exactly pass, so might as well set a new standard, set a new challenge. And I think Ken, yeah,
Yeah.
will provide some value. I think this is a good move. I'll give them a flat, yeah, an A minus. It's still a bit of a risk. You're talking about a tier 2 player, really, but it is the risk I want to see this team take, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, neato. MIBR have, with a rap video on Twitter, announced LNZ and Venom Zero joining the team last night, European time.
Video.
There was
Please tell me
a
Linus
like
is
a
rapping.
no, but he's in the video like bopping along.
Oh god. Oh god. Well, whatever. Anyway, move wise, MIBR needed anything, just anything to happen, right? They couldn't just keep being the same team they were. It wasn't working with Kickert. It wasn't working with, honestly, anyone like Lukowski and anything. It just didn't work. So they brought in an IGL, change, those sorts of, change the philosophy, I guess, and change how they want to think about the game. They brought in Venom Zero, a guy who is like already played a good amount in Brazilian play, but not too much at a high level. Could be moldable, could have like very little expectation in terms of what his role can be. So they can fit him around Insani and Klim, find some value in his aim because he's quite sharp. It's not a terrible idea. It's so out of left field. This roster. It's a Russian, a Swede, 3 Brazilians. Like, it's just odd to look at, but hey, why not? Why not? Why not try and make it work? You've got enough talent on this team to win real games, not just Brazilian games. So yeah, perhaps an IGL is what they need. Hopefully it all works nice and smooth. I doubt it will. I'll give them a C+. Remains to be seen, really, if this can actually work.
Yeah, I didn't note it down, but I believe part of this announcement was also that Letny joins as a coach. Previously coached Klim in G2 RS, so I'm assuming that's a targeted signing. Like they wanted to get a guy who has coached him before. Yeah, I'm just watching this music video. It's like a music video where 4 presumably Brazilian musicians who I've never heard of rap in a mosh pit surrounded by all the different MIBR players from CS and all the other like all their other teams. I think the Valorant team was there as well. MIBR female was there and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very cringe.
I'm now gonna look at this.
But I admire the effort. But yeah, having seen a lot of LNZ play in 2025, because we are fans of Heroic, or we enjoyed watching Heroic play. I think you enjoyed watching Heroic play under Linus.
Yeah, they had some interesting little setups and ways to play. Yeah.
Yeah. So quickly, just for me, can you give me a parallel between X-Floud Tenir Youngster to Venom Zero, Insani, and Bruno? Bruno is Youngster, I would say. Ish.
Yeah, I mean, Insani's your Tenir, and he's got the talent to do as much as he did. Just, we haven't really seen a whole lot of that in CS2. And I guess Venom Zero, depends. It will depend on role, because him and Breno, I think, in some ways overlap with like the level of aggression they're usually playing with, but also the roles they sometimes get forced into based on the stars of their team. So we'll see how they end up balancing it out. But they have the ability on this team to match or if not surpass like what Heroic were last year. But it's just about meshing the pieces. Great ingredients. I could have salt, pepper, and a steak, but if I boil the steak and throw the salt and pepper over my shoulder, it's going to taste like shit. So
yeah, the feeling that I got, which I mentioned to you when this was originally rumored, was this feels like the English speaking Tai Lu lineup with the Serbian and Croatian players, because it looks great. Like I can see what you have. I can see the ingredients. And I can see how you've tried to put it together into a puzzle. It's just the only reason why I think it won't work is because it shouldn't. It's because it's just so weird. But I hope it works. Linus is obviously very talented, and as you say, the rest of the lineup kind of is as well. So yeah, that's that move done. Maybe the most exciting move of this entire Eternal Shuffle, which we're going to do today. Big have confirmed the lineup that I believe maybe wasn't even rumored at the time when we did the last week's episode. Freeze and Process are out. Blamef and Faven are in. And that's the lineup now. You love this. It would have been out because it would have been rumored because you did. It was part of your.
Yes. But it wasn't. It wasn't confirmed because the reaction I got to it. Some people were like, "Oh, but look at the rest of the roster." Just because I was talking about Grix, I wasn't talking about Blamef. I just knew Blamef was coming. Yeah, I was excited. Yeah, I think this team is going to be considerably better than the last iteration of Big. I expect them to be top 16 at a major in this coming year. Not necessarily coming season, but it's not impossible. Given them until April to make it into range of even playing the major. I mean, it's going to be tough, but hey, it's a lot of events to try that. They can go beat down 100 thieves at a bunch of different little lands. But no, they are. Yeah, they're probably one of the teams that actually has one of the more difficult VRS situations, if I'm not mistaken. But I just think the talent will prevail. Farven put in quite like a good display, like in terms of his time on 9, and that reassures me a bit that if Blamef takes IGL ship and doesn't quite perform to the same level, like he'll still drop like 118s, but it won't quite be the same. I'm reassured that we at least have Farven who can step up and be like a real force, and I think Grix is going to be an absolute animal for this team and prove that the AWP isn't terrible. You lot just aren't, firstly, perceiving AWPers right, and secondly, some AWPers are just shit. Especially teams, top teams AWPers. Like, a lot of them are just bad with the AWP right now, or bad at the game right now, but avoiding too much scrutiny. Yeah, this is a roster I'm very excited for. A+ on the moves. Considering the combination, what they've ended up with. If it fails, I'll be genuinely shocked.
Yep. No notes. Heroic have finally confirmed their roster and their final roster move. It was Susp who joins the team, not Jugs, as was rumored for a little bit, but it is
Jugs, and I was like,
It was a roomie who said it. I honestly assumed that they might have inquired about Jugs when selling to BC Game was on the cards. Like they might have thought of like building a new team if they were selling a core. But Susp was the original rumor. It was at least to me confirmed quite early, and it was always going to happen. So if Jugs was coming in, it wouldn't have been for Youngster. But Youngster is gone, and I'm very sad about that. To be honest, I hope he lands on his feet. I hope there's a team for him somewhere lower down the rankings where he can bounce back, because I genuinely think he has that kind of talent. But I'm very happy about Susp coming in. So it's bittersweet, but Susp is a very exciting addition. It's been a slam dunk, obvious move, I feel like, for the entirety of the fall season. I'm happy it's finally happening. And role balance, I think when we've talked about Sus potentially joining Heroic on the show, we have talked about it being for xFloud. That would be maybe a more logical role distribution. But do you still see it working with the way that they've done it?
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to see, or we discussed it so much, and the reason I preferred it this way for xFloud is just because naturally I see Sus being able to be in those roles and hit those shots and be very stable. Despite the pressure of the role and despite, a lot of the turmoil that comes with it. But he's not, like, if people like to give Mezzy like Swiss Army knife credit, or they have started to now, and so talking about him being the GOAT of the Swiss Army knife role position. But Susp is a player who can do a lot of different things. Like, I've seen him anchor very well, I've seen him support very well, I've seen him be a part of the pack, not necessarily leading it very well. He can do a number of things to a high level, not necessarily all of them as the best player on the team, but he can contribute. So the fact they keep xFloud, who is, towards the end of spring season, we talked about this, we were so frustrated when he gets benched because he had just finally hit a patch of consistent form against top teams. Like he'd actually had some good games where we'd been so critical of him in terms of the big games, big moments, completely falling off the edge of the cliff. He then struggled to reintegrate afterwards when he came back into the lineup after that short hiatus. But right now, if you talk like purely in theory, this is the best Heroic we could have seen since Tanir, but also if Nilo ends up playing like Metasport Nilo, it'll be better than the version of Heroic with Tanir. So for us, it's very exciting. I think Susp, it's just a weapon for this roster.
Yes.
And yeah, I like the move. I like the move overall. I still think they're imperfect as a roster. I think Krizen will be, an interesting player to integrate. Still not entirely sold on Alcaran, despite the little, copium, little Delulu things I can hold on to, like, the fact that he does maintain a good LAN rating, that when he was on Spirit Academy, his LANs were his best events. There's something to him that maybe that could help. I just think the rest of the rifle core and all that stuff just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I like the move. I like it. Specifically that Nilo Susp chemistry pairing I think is very positive for Nilo in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, we touched on them earlier. Boss, we're jumping a bit down the rankings now. We're going to jump back up later. But Boss have added Stanislaw and Fang to make quite an interesting roster. And I think Ben Leet moved to the coach role while this was happening. But yeah, that is the Boss team, which is actually not that bad. I like it.
Yeah, a lot of people are very excited for guys like Fruit Cup. I just see memes about Fruit Cup. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I've watched a whole bunch of his POVs. Same thing with Slight, B Wills. These guys have good numbers in NA play. Can't say I've watched a whole lot of them, but I've watched a decent amount of Fang against far tougher competition than these guys have faced so far, and I'm a big fan of Fang. At least mechanically as well. Like, he just buttery smooth, really precise. Always liked watching him. And then Stanislaw, dude, on wildcard, was in conversations for me in terms of, like, if I had to make an IGL tier list of, like, the best IGLs at calling things and being tactically sound and having the respect of their team, like, he was one of the best. Like, he was amazing. And considering the PC worked with as well, he got a lot out of them and played some exciting CS, had a great style. I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited for this Boss move. For them, it's an A+. Like, you can't have made much better of a move. Like, there's no way you could have done a better move than this. You replace... who is it exactly gets placed? You replace Darty and Ben Leet. So, a guy who I couldn't pick out of a crowd. And Ben Leet, who I know Ben Leet, but he's just like, he's nothing insanely special when it comes to the IGL role. And replace them with Fang and Stanislaw. Yeah. Pretty good move. Like, this is about as good as it can be, as I said, for Boss. So, A+.
I think the bottom line of Stanislaw is that I think he can bring any roster, whatever pieces he has, to its absolute peak, its absolute, like, ceiling of what a roster can do. So with these 4 other players, what do you think that ceiling is for Boss? As in, if you're gonna put them in an NA ranking, behind MA, I'm assuming behind MAT, Passion USA,
so
NRG.
Behind Pusa for sure.
Pusa, NRG, MAT. I'm assuming
Pusa
you keep
on the North
above.
American ranking right now for HLTV.
They are technically, yeah. They are.
Yeah, look, their ceiling should be contending with NRG with the potential to overtake them. I still think, like, I still need to see more. I mean, I'm just saying this hypothetically. I need to see more from myself out of Slight, Fruit Cup, and B Wills to believe in them as players like that. I've not watched them as much as I have watched guys on NRG, guys on MAT, and especially not the Passion USA lads. Like, I haven't seen them to the same extent. I haven't had the same level of exposure to them. But at least my initial reaction is, in terms of IGL upgrade, in terms of bringing in a talent like Fang, I think currently they're 9th in the North American HLTV rankings. They should climb really quickly above teams like Reign Above, F5, Rave, Wildcard, Voca. Marsborn, they weren't able to beat in their rematch. I've talked about that earlier. But they will, I think they will be a better team than them in the long run. And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Can't help but notice, by the way, all the talk about AWPers and teams needing AWPers. Wildcard has still managed to hold on to MHL, who's still putting up just the second coming of Christ level numbers against North American competition. And everyone's just like, oh man, there's no AWPers right now. Like, there are players to try. I mean, MHL has fucked up everyone he's ever faced in Tier 2. Like, he's never struggled outside of, without talking about Tier 1, because he just hasn't played a whole lot. Like, he has been demolishing everyone for years, and for some reason I never see him linked. Never see a link made. Either he's refusing to play top-level CS, or everyone's fucking blind, because it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Likely.
8 maps against top 5 opponents. He's a 109. Put him in phase right now.
Yeah,
Put him in phase.
likely to be the IGL of this wildcard lineup. I think it sounded like when I read
Jesus
Jeff's
Christ.
interviews from Frag. But right now they haven't decided who's going to call. So yeah, it's going to be MHL. Yeah, speaking of calling and tactics and expertise in this area, BC Game have added Taz as their coach.
Yeah, well, obviously, he's obviously not there for the strats. He's there to basically make this team play as a team. I think that's the entire reason you make this signing. Is you get a guy with a big enough name, big enough respect to pretty much bully Simple and Electronic into listening. That's what it feels like. I hope it works because I want this team to succeed somewhat. Like I want to see them at every LAN. I don't necessarily want them to win everything, but I want to see them playing big LANs. I want to see them competing. I want to see Simple on that sort of stage. So here we are.
Yeah. Now I was a big proponent of the pairing argument between IGL and Coach when I was talking about Fallen and CD. We had disagreements on how to say it, but yeah, in Belgrade. But yeah, so by that logic, I feel like this would be perfect. You know, you have maybe the biggest vibes guy with the biggest tactics caller.
Yeah, but the mesh is also about how the two synergize, and I have no reason to believe Taz and fucking Muterus are buddies or get each other, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. They might be besties. Short, scrawny Portuguese man and giant, tall Polish guy.
Is that your search term? Is it? Is that what you go for? Swede in chair next to them.
Fuck you. Copenhagen Wolves have disbanded. New Jersey Wolves have disbanded. And have suspended for now their CS operations, which I think was their only operations. And yeah, these are the players that are now available. We are talking about Mateos, Nixon, Jorko, and who else? Bielani and Tupperware.
Yeah, Bielani and Tupperware. Yeah, they are. There's some really, really, really good-looking players in that group. Like in terms of, I want to sign them. Like I'm a tier 2 team. Give me Jorko. Give me Mateos. Give me, even honestly, Tupperware. Not a terrible IGL. Like there's pieces here. You can definitely make some use of. Jorko for me has especially been one of the most exciting players. I want him on every team. Again, if you're crying about Orping being bad on your side and you're not even talking about Jorko, I know he's 17. I know for me that's too young for a tier 1 like jump up. Like I feel like that's too early. You still have to be having the conversations. You should be inquiring. You should be looking. There's no reason to keep floundering with your fucking 103 rated Orpa who gets a 0.38 rating at an event. Like just no need.
Yeah. Jorko's obviously the big guy. He's somebody who I saw linked to a bunch of teams, Metasport being one of them in the off season, but doesn't seem to have landed anywhere. Like he hasn't seemed to have landed anywhere right now, but maybe later.
Yeah, he's quite young still. Like it's whatever.
Yeah, Mateo's also like a big talent. He actually had like a small stint with the current Foot lineup. I think he played an event or two in place of Mikaze before the move to Foot happened.
Yeah.
Tupperware is the caller, right?
Yes.
Having this long a tenure as a caller on a team which is literally just has been a revolving door for the entire time since they came back, it means you're doing something right. It's big. And I think Bielani, like he had a good streak of pretty decent results at the end of the of this team. He's not a bad pickup for a team who wants somebody like that. So yeah, there's pieces to be had here for sure, especially for a tier 2 team. Even Nixon is like, yeah, he wasn't really up there on this team, but he's shown flashes before. When he was playing alongside Nut, I believe he was outperforming him, and that would have been on ecstatic. So yeah, I'll pick up these pieces, especially Jorko. But yeah, Eternal Fire have also made a change, and they have gone further into the depths of European CS. They have signed Rigon from ENS, and they've signed Waro2k, long absent since Counter-Strike, relevant Counter-Strike. Now back with Eternal Fire. I think they're still missing a 5th if I'm looking at the HLTV page. But I'm assuming they're just going to play it out with Emor or Girezi until to retain their VRS kind of thing.
Yeah. Or they might try to rebuild from blank and just attend all those billion lands that everyone's going to try and make use of.
It is Emor. He played the game yesterday against Los Cogutos. So yeah, but they're back.
Yeah, cool. I mean, Warriors UK is
still
viable as an AWPer, you know? He's still doing decent work in Tier 2. Rigon, just bouncing around a lot these days, but he had some bad moments on all these teams. Like, he wasn't always great on Ents, wasn't always great on the, final vestige of Bad News Eagles, but he's never truly trash for the entire event, the entire run,
Yep.
And he still provides some value. So far he's played 5 maps at a 123 for this team, which is fucking wow. They haven't exactly played the stiffest competition, but still pretty funny. I expect this to work for them relative to what they were. Like they're going to be happy with the outcome, considering before their VRS was not great. They currently don't have a VRS even, considering officially it was benched. But they were, last I checked, in the hundreds. Yeah, 125 was where they were with the full Turkish team, after having stolen some Polish players' VRS. Can only be better.
Indeed. Next up is Nemiga, who have made 2 changes. They transfer listed Lear, the caller, and Xanter, one of their bigger prospects in the past couple of years, actually.
Yep.
And they signed Chiron and Sypho. So, what was your reaction to this move?
Weird team. I don't like it, flat out. It kind of hilariously just pissed on the flame that everyone had of Lear as the next great Russian caller, Lear to Spirit, Lear to everyone. The fact that Nemiga don't even want him was kind of a shock. They've clearly made this change because they just weren't happy with how the season was going after they'd lost Zwei to Spirit. Like, it did go pretty poorly. I had to be, I was very upfront with that with people. Every time someone would suggest, oh, what about Lear? I'm like, have you watched Nemiga recently? Like, post Zwei? It's not been very impressive. And the org agrees. So they've made these moves. Chiron still has some talent. Still don't want to face him on Mirage. And Sypho was always a role player on Spirit Academy. Nothing crazy. He's also only on loan. So we'll see how he fits in. But overall, I'm not entirely behind this. I'd give this like a C-.
Yeah, he's the Lear replacement in that sense, and risky Bob takes over calling. Xanter transfer listed. Like, look, Xanter was talked about when Flammes got sold. I remember we were thinking about Xanter as like the next guy who was going to get picked up, and then Zwei came along and he was the next guy who got picked up. And Xanter never got picked up, but now he's transfer listed, so maybe it might happen. But
yeah, first half of the year he's just flat banging out people, but then it just slowly faded away, and it was just blips of performance. I still think he could, reignite that kind of form. 2024, I think he was really damn good. Yeah, he was 114 in 2024.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he was good alongside Flammes. Flammes left. We assumed Xanter was going to be like the next big guy, but no, Zwei just kind of slotted straight into Flammes' position, and well, maybe not physically, but like his,
not true.
but like in the team, and he became the new big guy, and Xanter's still solid, but not exactly superstar in the same sense.
Yeah, not good enough.
But yeah, that's the moves. Ents have also made moves, and they are reheating all nachos, I believe. Yes, they are playing Fiku and Krasnal instead of Regon and Miltzi.
Yeah, I'm not sure too much to think about this. Like, I think they have the freedom to try this kind of thing because SDY, Pody, Nechu are all solid. Like, they're all solid, reliable, dependable pieces. Yeah, get a bit silly with it in those spots. So I'm always disappointed to see an academy kid dropped. Mutsi was from their academy, and he was, one of the better riflers their academy's ever pumped out. Just a shame it didn't work out in the end. They did need to make changes. Krasnal Fiku. Hopefully Fiku gets the NA farmer buff, I'll give them a B+ for this.
Fiku, I don't think I think Fiku's never going to disappoint as like the 5th guy on a team. He'll do his job and he'll do it fine enough. Krasnal, I think probably better than his career would suggest. Career so far, but yeah. So let's see what they manage to do here. A bit exhausting talking about ends. I feel like they're just always. Yeah. Anyway, Fluxo. They've cut Art. I don't think they signed anybody else, but this is a team that played the major, so we should talk about them. But yeah, Art doesn't have the faith of the org anymore.
A lot of people have talked about this, like the ultimate failing of Art was not getting these players to work. I'm a bit like, I think you guys rate these players a lot higher than I do. Like I like Zevi. I think Zevi's a decent little AWPer. I don't have the same delusional belief in decenty, Lukowski, and Kai that everyone else seems to have, to where this team had to work and had to be the best in Brazil and had to succeed over all these. Like, I didn't think that much of them. So, look, should they try something else at the IGL spot? Yeah, probably. I don't think Art was doing anything special, but I don't think his failure was as drastic as some people implied after this move happened.
No.
We'll see. Maybe Tacitus can live up to his name at some point.
I think part of that expectation around Fluxo is also because of who they are. If I recall correctly, they are a big org with big funding, and they have huge buyouts, and they pay huge buyouts because they're funded by some millionaire. So I think the expectation is that they're supposed to be better based on what they have. But yeah, it's not. I like Zevi, I like Lukowski. I'm not huge on Kai. I think he did the best he could with Kai, to be honest. But yeah, shame for Art. Maybe he can land somewhere else. I think Art's still good enough to play in Brazil. Anyway. Yeah. Inner Circle have confirmed their roster. It is Zero Fix and Captain Kurtka, which is what they've been playing with recently. And they're also playing pretty soon.
They are, but it's a downgrade. Like, it's just a downgrade. I'm not a big fan of the roster now. I'm still thinking this is actually a good thing, because it means they will take a small step back, and they'll give more time for Davu, more time for Fleerax to like develop a bit more. Let Onyx keep growing in confidence and skills in IGL. They'll probably, give some time for Zerofix to develop as well. I think the only player here who's pretty much at his best, or theoretically best, is Captain Kurtka. Like, 'cause he's been a feature for so long in so many teams. He's been around the block. He's played big events. Like, he's the only guy. So we'll just let them fade, out of the spotlight a bit. Let it develop. The players are obviously not as good as Ken and Knifey were, but they can be eventually. So give them time.
Yeah, Captain Kurtka maybe taking a bit of an SDY role to me, anyway, in this. Not in terms of being the caller, obviously, but being like a high-performing mentor guy. Like, he's a guy, nobody's looking at Captain Kurtka for moving up into Tier 1. Like, his performance here is probably going to be his career peak. So he's the kind of guy who can bang in game after game after game with like a solid performance, while also providing experience and like an advisory kind of thing for the younger talents of this roster. So I think that could be valuable. Imperial Valkyries have gone a little bit left field, and they have released their lineup. The most successful women's team of all time no longer plays for. They're now orgless once again under Pigeons, and the most successful women's player of all time, Anna, is also teamless because they've signed Viku, or they've added Viku from Big Equipa.
Of all time is a bit much, but of modern history, post-COVID.
Of Impact, of ESL Impact, the Impact era of women's CS.
The Impact era of the women's scene, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a weird spot, something we didn't expect to see. Viku coming in is probably going to do a decent job, but I don't think anyone has her as quite the same tier of player. Because Anna was multi-time, women's player of the year.
Yeah.
Didn't have that great at 2025, but still has.
No.
I'm sure if she's still competing, still wants to be at the top, she will find a roster and perform. So, yeah, I would just wait with curiosity, see what like events pop up for the women's scene, which ones these ladies end up competing in. Figure out what's left of them, really. What's left of the old empire? Will the new order rise? Just kidding. The sequels never happened.
they're playing this Nodwin Clutch Series close qualifier, which is mixed, so they're not playing other women's teams. Actually, no, they might, because hindsight, they're also here with Madame, Kayode, Anna, Pulox, and Mickery. But yeah, they're we'll see what they do. JB Pro League, I think, is the only women's event which is like lined up, or like the biggest one which is lined up. So let's see what happens there. Small footnote on this. This is going to be public in a couple of hours anyway. M-Sun confirmed in an interview with me that Kyosa will be taking a break as well. So Biggie Keep are losing 2 players.
Oh, that's a big one to lose as well.
Yeah, she's taking like a little break from competition, it sounded like. So it's going to be Astra, Hanka, M-Sun carrying on into the next year. And it did sound like Big want to keep investing, want to keep going, which is good. They've always done so, honestly. I admire them for that. But yeah, it changes to the women's team of the year are happening as well, further just beyond the ops position. 2 more changes left on the Eternal Shuffle today. We have a very exciting one, in my opinion. Johnny Speeds have a new coach after Barbar left the lineup, and it is major MVP of Cologne 2014, Freiburg. Finally got a coaching gig after a year of posting on Twitter that he's looking for coaching gigs, which says something about something, but also I'll just say that I love this. What do you think?
I mean, he was calling for a bit, wasn't he, towards the end of his tenure as a player on Dignitas and Heroic, I think, even as well.
Yes, indeed.
So, he's exposed himself to that side of things. He's played, one of the tougher roles in Counter-Strike for a long time at a very high level. Yeah, we'll see how if you're a first-time coach, it doesn't matter how long of a legend you were, how many teams you led. I don't want to see you trying to IGL the best team in the world. Coach the best team in the world. I don't want to see you coaching a team with that sort of ambition. I do like the fact that he's coaching a tier 2 side. Assistant gig might have still been, I think, a viable option, but a lot of people refuse to do that. It might be a pay scale thing at this point. But yeah, Freiburg, Johnny Speeds coach. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think Johnny Speeds are looking to make the major this year. So
maybe the Singapore.
Let him stew. Let him stew.
Yeah, I love the change. He has natural chemistry with, or at least has a history with Lecro, Heap, and Draken from Dignitas and NIP.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Draken would have been in one of the Freiburg's NIP lineups. So, and he's been looking for coaching gigs since the start of last year. He's landed one. I've watched him cast, and he is the most analytical guy. Like there's a lot of parallels between. Obviously, like this is not the same, but like the way he casts games is that he's very critical and he's very. It's almost a bit of a meme with how often he's like, why the fuck did they do that? That makes no sense tactically. Why did they should have done this? They should have done this. And I don't know if he's correct, but there's only one other guy who I think does that sort of casting, and it's Pita before he joined Eyeballers, and that's been a very successful move as a coaching move. So I can see him moving into a coaching role quite successfully. He's played with some very good callers. He played with some very good coaches as well. Pita, for example. So yeah, I can see the move happening, and I can see the move working out. I hope it does, because that might be the oomph that Johnny Speeds need to make. That together with Joe Cab, I think could honestly make a big difference for Johnny Speeds. Maybe not best in the world, but a step upwards and a step forwards.
In any case, it's a good place to learn.
Yeah, it is definitely. Once again on the merry-go-round of the game of musical chairs, which is Virtus.pro's coach position, they now have a problem because he's the coach. And this was another funny Luis Mira headline. And like honestly, to be honest, the graphic that they put out is just the best one, which just says "welcome problem." But yeah, he steps up from VP right? Prodigy.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah, to me, notable for playing in. Let me see if I remember this team correctly. Hellraisers, I believe.
Yes,
yep.
He was on
Hellraisers. And Indie Ira. Do you remember Banca Pepsi? Hell yeah, dude. this kind of generation of Hellraiser's player, like with Lime, Sea Power, Kalinka, etc., etc. Tier 2 mainstay. I think he coached Betboom before as well. If I'm not, no, wait, he didn't. No, that's the other guy. Whatever Railway. That's the guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. Tier 2 mainstay. Apparently impressed in Virtus Pro's academy team, and he replaces. Who does he replace? I don't know. This is the thing. I can. Finn was the last to coach the team.
Yeah, he's in 2025. VP Prodigy probably have the most impressive win of either team, so they probably have upgraded in that sense.
Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting project, isn't it, right now? Because there are 2 academy players that he was coaching on the main roster. Does make sense to bring him up to help coaching them. We'll see what this VP team becomes, because Lord, has it been depressing at various points. Give it 3 months of more disappointment. I'd expect to see Perfecto gone and what's his face from the academy to come up. What is his name? I'm trying to look it up. Aqua, there we go.
Huh? Yeah.
So, no, we'll see what the project becomes. But for now, it is just funny to me that they are slowly becoming the academy in the same way Mouse were, but with very different sort of levels of play.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a. I guess that's the chemistry kind of thing. Toro and Bist working with the problem, and maybe like a fresh pair of eyes could be good for Perfecto in his IGL transition. But yeah. Virtus Pro also being tested in Blast Bounty against Vitality tomorrow. Predictions. An upset on the cards.
No.
I don't know. Messi might still be hungover. That's all the shuffles. I don't think we're nearing the end. There's no more rumors. There's very few teams who have anything left to confirm. I think maybe a slight shuffle footnote. Monty are playing today with Rainwaker. They haven't announced a 5th to replace Ryu, but they are playing with Rainwaker. And yeah, that's the deck has been shuffled. That's about it.
All right, yeah, that's the Eternal Shuffle. Some pretty big changes, some not so big changes. Let's get into the final segment of the show. As we always do, we finish with Prospect of the Week. It's time to discuss some of these people. There's not been a lot of Counter-Strike played, so there's not a lot of players to give shout-outs to. I've honestly just picked one straight off the stat sheet. Not someone I've actually watched a whole lot of, but hey, put up some pretty big numbers. Yeah. This is Kralej.
In Swedish, it would be Kralej. So in Danish, I would say Kralej.
And that's Christian Jensen. Crowley J. Put up a pretty solid performance against some not terrible Tier 2, Tier 3 teams, playing a series of close qualifiers in the A1 Gaming League. Put up strong numbers against All-Inners, CS Delit, had a good map against Arb, Japshani, hell they are some Polish guys, and the Foot Academy. Like not crazy competition, but there's not a whole lot going on right now.
Do it still.
He's 19-year-old playing on Masonic. Masonic had a pretty good week, so did he. He's my selection.
Yep. Crazy game. That Foot Academy map. There's an almost 2.0 rated map, which is after several overtimes against Foot Academy there, and I remember seeing clips from that game where it's one of those games where it just ends up being in overtime because every player had at least a couple of pop-off rounds, like saving the game. Even I think what I saw was Bridlo entered overtime with something like 4 frags, but he got 18 frags across the overtime period. So it's when even that level of performance is coming out of somebody like Brillo, then yeah. Straight off the stats sheet, I've never heard of him, but Masonic are here with a lineup, and he is in it, and he did well this week. Good job! I've also gone for somebody on the other side of that Food Academy, or somebody from that Food Academy game, and it is Rendy Sky, or Rendy, as he just used to be called, of Food Academy. He's an impressive guy. I've watched him a little bit, considering he now plays on a Swedish team, sort of. They were in Svenska Cupen, which was good to see. He was good there. He had standout games, which I enjoyed watching him in. But also this week, despite playing 2 games, one of them being a loss against Masonic, and the other being a win against 777. High rated, solid, good opping for a relatively inexperienced 19-year-old. And you know, I put a lot of faith behind the players on this lineup. Rendy's actually one of them. One of them who I think has a bit of promise. So I'm looking forward to what their 2026 might be. Not just the Swedes, but also him.
Yeah, limited sample, obviously, for all these players. There's not been a lot of Counter-Strike played. But hey, yeah, no, I mean, I'll be watching the academies, obviously, with interest. Rendy Ski, whatever, the Foot Academy, yeah. Show us what you got.
Yeah.
We're curious. We're waiting. We're excited. But yeah, that's going to be the episode. The shortest episode in literally, I think, more than a year. Thank you all for tuning in for this measly 1 hour, 40-minute episode. If you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, and us your thoughts on any of our takes, any of the things we've talked about. If you're listening on audio-only platforms, then leave us a review, because I realize I've never asked for that, but I should. Give us 5 stars if you liked it. Don't give us any rating at all if you don't. And yeah, sub for more. Remember that membership's the best way to support the channel and get access to more content. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.